For decades, Iran occupied two radically different places in Western political imagination. Before 1979, under the Shah Mohammad Reza Pahlavi, Iran was often described as a pillar of Middle Eastern stability, a modernizing monarchy, a reliable ally, an almost Western power on strategic crossroads between Communist China and the USSR. What changed? Officially, the answer was ideology, but the history is never that simple. And as it always happens in the Middle East and around the world, the truth is hidden beneath the oil. Because long before Iran became a geopolitical scapegoat of the West, it was its useful and nice asset. Oil was discovered in Iran in 1908, one of the earliest major finds in the Middle East. The find reshaped Persia's geopolitical importance overnight. However, the rights to extract and profit from that oil did not belong to the Iranian people. They belonged to the Anglo-Persian Oil Company, eventually known as BP. Under the concession agreements of the early 20th century, Iran received only a small fraction of the profits generated from its own oil. British agents controlled production, pricing, refining, and exports. The company fueled the Royal Navy and the expansion of British global power. The heir to the Persian Empire became Britain's critical oil asset. By the 1940s, Iran possessed one of the world's largest proven oil reserves, yet much of the wealth generated left the country. Most of the population was poor. In 1951, Prime Minister Mohammad Mosaddegh moved to nationalize the Iranian oil industry. He argued that a sovereign nation should control its own resources. The decision was overwhelmingly popular inside Iran. It was framed as a matter of national dignity and independence, not Islamic ideology. But from London's perspective, nationalization threatened profits and created a precedent. If Iran succeeded, resource-rich nations under British rule might follow. Britain imposed an embargo on Iranian oil. Tankers were blocked in ports and revenues collapsed. Then, in 1953, a covert operation coordinated by British intelligence and the CIA, known as Operation Ajax, helped orchestrate a coup that removed Mosaddegh from power and strengthened the authority of Shah Mohammad Reza Pahlavi. The official justification was preventing communist influence during the Cold War. The economic result was obvious. A new oil consortium was formed. American, Dutch, and French companies joined British firms in controlling Iranian production. Western access was restored. Iran was once again a reliable ally, or an asset. In Western headlines, Shah Pahlavi became a symbol of progress. Even nowadays, the internet is full of pictures of Iran before the Islamic Revolution, with girls in short skirts on the streets, hippies, and other stuff. Throughout the 60s and 70s, Iran was portrayed as a success story. The Shah launched the White Revolution, land reforms, infrastructure projects, literacy campaigns, industrial expansion. Tehran grew rapidly. Oil revenues surged, especially after the 1973 oil crisis dramatically increased global prices. Iran became one of America's largest arms purchasers. Billions of dollars in advanced military equipment, tanks, fighter jets, firearms, military vehicles flowed into the country. U.S. corporations secured lucrative contracts in construction, energy, and defense. In the Pentagon strategic framework, Iran was a counterweight to Soviet influence and a guardian of Gulf oil routes. But beneath the surface, pleasant for Westerners' eyes, lied the hard and uncomfortable truth. Political opposition was tightly controlled. The Shah's security service, Savak, suppressed dissent. Wealth distribution remained extremely uneven. Rural Iran, with most of its population, was poor and poorly developed. Rapid westernization alienated segments of the religious establishment. And despite rising oil revenues, the perception persisted among many Iranians that the country's economics still served foreign interests. The Islamic Revolution of 1979 wasn't just a religious uprising, it was also a national revolt against monarchy, against Western influence, against economic dependency. When Ayatollah Khomeini returned from exile, mass protests began. The Shah fled, Western oil executives left, the political structure collapsed. Iran's oil industry was consolidated under full state control. From the standpoint of Western strategic interests, it was a rapture. The U.S. lost. lost not only a regional ally, but privileged access to one of the world's largest energy reserves. And almost immediately, Iran's global image shifted. The former pillar of stability became a revolutionary, almost terrorist regime in the eyes of the West. In the years that followed, sanctions evolved into one of the most extensive economic pressure campaigns in modern history. Iranian banking, shipping, insurance, and energy exports became targets. The stated rationale shifted over time: support for militant groups, regional policy, allegations of nuclear weapons development that remained unproven. But the economic effect remained consistent, constraining Iran's ability to fully capitalize on its oil resources. Iran did not stop producing oil, it stopped producing oil on terms favorable to Western corporations. For many Iranians, the revolution was not simply about religion, it was about reclaiming autonomy over national wealth and resisting foreign leverage over domestic affairs. Throughout the 20th century, attempts by resource-rich nations to nationalize strategic industries, from Latin America to the Middle East, frequently triggered sanctions, economic pressure, or covert intervention. In Iran's case, once control over oil passed from Western companies to the Iranian state, the country's image in global politics changed just as abruptly. Yesterday's reliable partner became today's adversary.